9 haunted places around the world that will give you chills. Isla de los Muñecos, Mexico. Despite its status as a famous UNESCO World Heritage Site for its very well-preserved examples of Aztec life, the eerie neighborhood of Xochimilco has reached quite a bit of internet fame for its infamous Island of the Dolls. Hidden among this region's many canals, this site is famous for the hundreds of dolls, as well as doll parts, hanging from trees and scattered all among the grass. While it might look much more like a horror movie set, the Chinampa was said to be the residence of a now-deceased man called Julian Santabarrera. According to reports, after finding a deceased girl's body in a nearby canal, Barrera had collected and displayed all the toys in the hopes of warding off any evil spirits. Daring souls can simply hire their own boat and view this island safely from the water. St. Augustine Lighthouse, Florida. The St. Augustine Lighthouse is reportedly visited by more than 216,000 people annually, but it's also well known for its otherworldly guests. Multiple tragic events that took place at the now historic site have also contributed to the alleged paranormal activity. The ghost of a lighthouse keeper who had fallen to his demise while painting this tower has been reportedly spotted watching over the grounds. And ever since the horrific passing of 3 young girls, who had drowned when the cart they had been playing in broke and fell right into the ocean, visitors had claimed to hear the eerie sounds of children playing in and around this lighthouse. Oriental Theater, Chicago. Ghosts are said to haunt the infamous Oriental Theater, which was formerly the Iroquois Theater, in downtown Chicago, where nearly 600 people perished after a sudden fire famously broke out back in 1903. Even though the theater was completely rebuilt and even rebranded, the spirits of the deceased remained. Apparitions have reportedly been seen in the street behind the theater, where bodies were stacked after the disaster, and it is also a common stop on many a Chicago ghost tour. Bhangar Fort, India. Located only 100 miles southwest of Delhi, the lush ruins of the famous Bhangar Fort make for a curious juxtaposition right against the desert landscape of Rajasthan. To this day, the oasis remains mostly uninhabited due to an alleged curse that was cast by a disgruntled sorcerer after his advances had been rebuffed by a local princess. Hoia Baciu Forest, Romania. From the moment a military technician had captured a photograph of a UFO reportedly hovering over the forest back in 1968, Hoia Baciu has gained significant paranormal notoriety all around the world, with some actually believing it to be a portal that reportedly causes visitors to disappear. Those who have passed through this forest without actually being zapped into another realm have reported rashes, nausea, and even feelings of anxiety. Also called the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania, all the spooky curved trees that populated the forest just adds to the eerie atmosphere. Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. One of the biggest and most famous attractions in Scotland's capital city also happens to be considered as one of its most haunted, with multiple sections dating back at least 900 years. The historic fortress's ancient dungeons have reportedly led visitors to report several sightings of colonial prisoners right from the American Revolutionary Battle and French prisoners from the 7 Years' Battle. Even the ghost of a dog busy wandering the castle's dog cemetery has been reported. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia. The castle, like Eastern State Penitentiary, had taken solitary confinement to completely new levels when it was built back in 1829. Prisoners had lived alone, exercised alone, and even ate alone. When an inmate had left his cell, a guard was required to cover his head with a hood so that he could not see or be seen. The prison ultimately had to abandon its solitary system because of overcrowding back in 1913, although the forms of punishment didn't get any less severe before it closed for good back in 1970. The site now welcomes thousands of visitors almost every year, both for its museum as well as for Halloween celebrations. Reported paranormal happenings have also included disembodied laughter, shadowy figures, along with pacing footsteps. Myrtles Plantation, Louisiana. Built back in 1796 by General David Bradford, the Myrtles Plantation is said to be one of the most haunted sites in America. The house is rumored to be sitting on top of an Indian burial site and is also home to at least 12 different spirits. Ghost stories and legends abound, including the tale of a former laborer named Chloe, who had her ear immediately chopped off after she had been caught eavesdropping. She reportedly got her revenge by poisoning a birthday cake and taking the lives of 2 of the plantation owner's daughters, but then she herself was hung by her fellow workers. Chloe now reportedly wanders around this plantation, wearing a turban to conceal her severed ear. Borgvattnet Haunted Vicarage, Sweden. Originally built back in 1876, weird happenings have often been noted in this parsonage since the 1960s. The grey wooden structure currently serves as a bed and breakfast in a rather rural area in northern Sweden with fishing, snowmobiling, and not much else. Guests at Borgvattnet have claimed to actually hear footsteps, music, and even the eerie sound of 3 crying ladies coming from the inn. And the proprietors will also reward you with a certificate that says you actually stayed through the entire night.